Hi there, welcome to Floating on Dreams. This is a tea time chat about what if I created my own makeup line. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today I have a fun thought experiment for you because I had this idea for Tea Time Chat on the list for such a long time of like, what products do I wish existed? But I feel there's already so much makeup out there and there are so many things that I can't really think of like new things that I really feel like brands aren't doing yet. But I was like, you know what? I've done videos in the past that you seem to like a lot about like what would like if I ever got the chance to create an eyeshadow palette, what would it look like? And I've done videos like that in the past, so I'll make sure to link a couple of those in the description box down below if I can find them so you can add on the fun. But I was like, you know what? What if I join those ideas? What if I hypothesize that I'm gonna start a makeup brand? What would I come out with first? What formulas would I want to include in my new line of makeup if I did then eventually like enough products to create a full face? Like this would be slow goings. A lot of makeup brands don't like come right out of the gate with like a full face of makeup. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hypothesize and think of like what products would I want to release, which may not exactly exist exactly these things yet. And I think that's also going to be very informative for you guys to know exactly like where my aesthetic is and what kind of makeup things I truly enjoy. Like if I had full control over what could be done, this is what I would create. So I hope you have a bit of fun. I've got some makeup wipes here so I can do some swatches, but the thing is, the things I would want do not exist. So I can't really show you what it looks like. It's like this formula and this formula, but then I would want them to be together, you know, or in a different shade or whatever. So bear with me as we go along. My hair is falling apart, but I thought it could be fun to hypothesize this. So when it comes to lipstick, I think that would be the first product I would release. Why would I want to come out with lipsticks first? Because I think it's a very accessible product for people to buy. I think that even if you were like eyeing up a luxury brand, you probably don't start with the €75 eyeshadow palette, right? You would start with something smaller, something that can give you that little hit of dopamine. So I think that lipsticks, can be kept quite affordable. Like I think that for what I would want to create, they would have to be like around like 15 to 25 euros if I like think in my brain of like the things I like. There are 2 drugstore brands here as examples of things I would want, so I know they can be done at an affordable price point. And then to like, have the capital to expand on the makeup line and start including more products. So lipsticks would be first. For that reason, because A, I think it will attract customers. B, I think it will be a product that you can make at a fairly reasonable price point. And 3, I just love color. So there's that. What we would come out with though is a nude, a bright pink, and a classic red. Those are the 3 things I would want. Here's the issue. Here's all 3 of them together. So the nude in the middle is Laid Back Lilac from Revlon. The pinky tone I have here is Casually Overdressed from the Scandalous Matte range from Catrice. And the red I have here is my perfect blue toned red. This is Velvet Ribbon from Lisa Eldridge. These are the 3 things I would come out with first. The only problem I have is that I would want both of these products in this formula. This, like, I love a comfortable matte formula. And the Lisa Eldridge, I'm wearing Velvet Muse on my lips today. This has been on, when did I finish doing my makeup? At around like 10:30, 11, I finished, like, I put this on. I've already been outside my house. I have been talking already, filming a different video before this one. It's now roughly 2 o'clock. It's still on. it's still on. It's been on for 3 hours straight. And I know with the Lisa Eldridge formula that, yes, if you eat something that's a little bit oily, it's going to rub off. But these are lipsticks that can withstand a glass of water, that can withstand a cup of tea, you know? So, especially because I'm a teacher, I talk a lot throughout the day. I do not want the risk of my lipstick sliding outside of my lip line. I don't want there to be the issue of potentially getting the lipstick on my teeth as I'm teaching a class. So that's why the True Velvet formula by Lisa Eldridge or something similar, but then in these 3 shades. So the Revlon in Laid Back Lilac in that matte formula rather than this super lustrous, more shiny formula. And the same thing with the Catrice. New Wave by Lisa Eldridge does already exist and it's very similar to this, but it's in her insanely saturated formula, which I feel is a little bit more matte and a little less comfortable than the True Velvets are. It's a minor change, I feel. I feel they're not truly identical to each other. And this as well, this is a good formula, but it is really thin, so it doesn't feel like you're wearing lipstick, but with such a bright shade, you want to know you're wearing lipstick because else you're going to rub it all over your face. So those would be the first 3 products I would come out with: a nude, a red, and a bright pink, because those are the things I like to wear the most. Here are those 3 lipsticks. So the Lisa Eldridge True Velvet in Velvet Ribbon, the Catrice Scandalous Matte and Casually Overdressed 080, this was discontinued, and Laid Back Lilac from Revlon, but in a matte. That would be the deal. Yeah, so this formula and this shade, perfection, no notes, but then these 2 shades in that formula. I think Lisa Eldridge could actually give us that. Not sure about you, but these 2 shades do not exist exactly like this in the Lisa Eldridge range. So yeah, lipstick would be my first sort of touch. It's like just starting off kind of thing. I think it would be like, it would make sense to sort of go into complexion, because I think complexion is another like makeup product that a lot of people actually buy. So I would want to like do something with complexion. I'm not sure if I need to call this a foundation per se, because what I have in mind for the base product I would want to come out with is a complete Frankenstein concept here. I would want the skincare benefits of a BB cream, that sort of texture, but with the coverage level of a skin tint, with the glowiness of something like this Catrice Soft Glam filter thing. So it would have to be something like this. I'm gonna see if I can like mix it on the back of my hand so you can like see what I mean. But something like this, and then in like, I don't know, 20 shades or something, right? So at least like a decent amount. But it would have to be lightweight enough in between like a skin tint and a BB cream. I don't know. And then with the SPF of the BB cream, and you know what I mean? So it has to be like a marriage of those 3 products. That's what I would want. Let me see if I can like do a bit of a swatcheroo here. Oh, that's already too much. This is why I never swatch foundations live in videos, because it always gets it always becomes a mess. I hope the Lisa Eldridge isn't going to leak everywhere if I show you. So here is what those 3 things look like. Oops, so there's the Lisa Eldridge, that's the Catrice, and that's the BB cream. Okay, I need to move my finger or my hand, because else the Lisa Eldridge is just going to run everywhere. And I need a makeup wipe. See, this is why I brought them, because I knew this was gonna get messy. This is a very chaotic video. I do apologize in advance. But if we were to like combine them all together, what would happen? Would that be pretty? That is actually really beautiful. I do think I need more of the Catrice though. We need more of the Catrice, and I need to take like half of this off in a second to make room for other things that we still need to swatch. We need a little bit more glow. Ooh, I like the texture on that one. So here is my Frankenstein base product. Look at that glow. Oh, I want this now. Maybe I should just start mixing these three things together in a Shop My Stash at some point. Because that's really beautiful. Okay. I think I've just created a new base product, people. But yeah, that's sort of the vibe we're going for with the base product. Let me take half of this off. Here we still, like, it's on my knuckles, so it's probably not, there we go. You can see it a little bit better. There you go. So that would be the foundation that I would want. Next up would be a mascara. Again, thinking also of the finances of this makeup line, mascara is by far the most sold makeup product on the planet. So I think people mainly want two things from makeup, which is like the average consumer, I would say. They want their skin to look more even, they want their lashes to look nice, and they want like a fun lipstick to wear for like the holiday season and every day. I think then you're like covering the basis, you could say. So it would have to be a combination of these three. This is going to be very difficult to swatch, so I won't be doing that to myself, but I would definitely want to have a brown and a black mascara. That's a game changer. I use both interchangeably depending on what I like, and I top it off with a waterproof mascara to make sure it doesn't smudge. So there would be three mascaras. There would be a brown, there would be a black, and there would be a waterproof mascara. We all know that when it comes to the waterproof mascara, my Catrice Glam & Doll is my ultimate. This is the GOAT, the greatest of all time mascara that I've ever used. Not by itself though, as a topper. So I would probably make like Lisa Eldridge, like I would make like little kits and like give you like this in a black and a brown version. There is a brown version of this as well, but I just decided to take the black one up here. And what I love about this mascara and why it works so well for me isn't just the fact that it's waterproof, but it's the brush. So this brush is great at like combing through your lashes to make sure there are no clumps from the other mascara that you were using. You can very nicely get it into your lower lashes to make sure you coat your lower lashes. So this brush for me, perfection. So this brush for the waterproof mascara in both the black and the brown, I just want the brown waterproof mascara to be this shade of brown. The one they're currently doing is a little bit more reddish tone than this is. This is more of a chocolate brown and or like a coffee brown, and the one they're doing in the Catrice Glam & Doll has a little bit more warmth to it. So I would want it to be more cool toned because browns can be difficult to do. So I do really enjoy the Lash Princess Volume Mascara from Essence, but I would want this mascara formula to last 3 months like the Maybelline does. The only gripe I have with Essence and Catrice mascara, like this one doesn't have it as badly, but most of my Essence mascaras, I need to change them out every 6 weeks because they become too dry and clumpy to use. So I would want this formula, but with this sort of like longevity. With the Maybelline, I feel I can actually like use them up. Like I can keep going with this until there's nothing left. And the Maybelline ones last me like 3 to 4 months. Like that's a lot better for like a price point perspective as well. So that's why I would want to go with the formulation of this. But then this color for the brown. And then I do really enjoy this hourglass shaped brush. I love a volumizing mascara. That's my favorite. I don't really need a lot though in terms of mascara for it to like make my eyes look nice. I have naturally curled lashes that are long as well. Like my lashes come all the way to the bottom of my brow naturally. I never wear a false lash. If I wear a false lash, it looks absolutely ridiculous because the ones I need to wear for it to even look like I've got false lashes on and to have the effect that other people have of a false lash, I need to wear the like super long over exaggerated ones. it's not a good look. So that's why we don't really do many false lashes on here, or why I don't review mascara, because I'm blessed in the lash department. So it wouldn't be fair if I say like, oh, this is my all-time favorite mascara, you should get this, that if you have short, straight lashes, you're going to like the look. You know what I mean? So that's why I feel I'm too biased and too blessed in the lash department to make this work. So yeah, I would want this mascara with this brush, this level of like longevity. Like this is my favorite. Wish this came in a brown. They don't do it though. So that's mascara. That would be the third product I'd launch. I think the next launch I would have to do, again thinking of like average consumers, would be like a concealer powder sort of combo. And again, for concealer, I would have to MacGyver my own thing, because essentially what I would want is the formula of this Catrice Instant Bright Serum Concealer, but with the coverage of the YSL All Hours. This is not my shade, it's far too yellow, but this shade by Catrice is a shade 110, I believe. I can't see. Oh, 110C. That's the shade name of the Catrice one, so you can see the difference here, how much deeper and more yellow tone this YSL is compared to the Catrice. The Catrice is far more pinky toned, a lot lighter. This is actually the lightest shade that the YSL comes in. But yeah, this sort of level of coverage, but then in the formula and shade of the Catrice, that would be perfection. So again, I'm going to mix this on the back of my hand so you can sort of see what I mean. So we have the YSL, you can see how yellow it is, with the Catrice just below that. I'm trying to not have it take up too much real estate. Oh, that goes with the foundation so nicely. Wow, I'm very impressed with my own sort of like conceptualizing of what things would have to do, but at the same time as the concealer. So I would launch one concealer in loads of different shades and have it be like this dewy but full coverage / super long lasting like concealer. I don't believe that exists yet. And then of course I would come out with my version of the Kiko Flawless Radiant Fusion Powder / Hourglass Ambient Lighting Diffused Light Powder. I would probably make it translucent and like have it not have a white cast, so it can be one powder for all skin tones. That would be my aim as well, because this is far too yellow for most people, and it's probably too ashy for people with deeper skin tones. So, but it would be this sort of formula with a little bit of glow. It would be a finishing powder for sure. Like, I would not come out with a setting powder, nothing that's super matte, heavy, and cakey. I would not. So I'm gonna put a bit of a swatch of the powder. It's right here on my thumb. I don't think you can see it in this lighting. I don't have really good lighting this weekend, you guys. It's been very dark and gray and rainy, so I do apologize if it's a little bit dark in this video right now. But yeah, that powder, but then in a translucent shade. Does that make sense? And like a truly universal powder shade. So no white cast, no ashiness, no darkness, no yellow tone, just truly translucent, because we can do this in powder versions, but never pressed, I feel. Like pressed powders and like a good translucent pressed powder, I have yet to find. So that would be next. And then we're gonna have fun, because of course we know I would need to launch some blush, bronzer, and highlight. We just do. I'm not sure in what order I would launch it. I think I would do blush first. I think, again, blush is a little bit more universal for most people to like wear, I think. And here I'm going to struggle MacGyvering things because I don't have shades that match each other in these formulations. So I'll just swatch them separately so you can get an idea. You can get an idea. So for a cream blush, because it would be a cream blush in a pot like this, but then with the glow of this. So this is the Fui Pudding pot in the shade Slay. It would be a similar shade to this, but then in the dewy formula that this has, but then in a cream formula. That's what I would want. I don't feel it exists yet. This is super matte. So let me see where I can swatch the fouille so we can have a look. This is, there's the fouille right below the laid back lilac. It's this very sort of blurry, powdery, matte sort of finish. But I would want that sort of formula with this type of finish. This is the Juicy Pang by Apio. This is their liquid blush. This is in the shade Strawberry. But I would want, maybe I can like blend them a little bit, but you can see how the Juicy Pang is just so much more like shiny and stuff. And then I would probably want it to be more like Slay shade-wise. So I don't have that from Apio, and I definitely don't have it as a cream in a little pot, but I would want it to have that sort of finish, but with that shade and then in the pot formula. That would be blush number 1. We would also at some point do a powder blush, and for that, I want the marriage between these two. As much as I love the M Cosmetics Heaven's Glow powder blushes, I love these. I have 3 of them, which seems insane, but this sort of shade I love, but I wish that this brand did more like cool tones, and they don't. But I love the finish of this. Like, I love the effect on my cheeks. It looks so effortless, but I don't love that it's baked. This, like, truly, like, baked style product, I just think it just looks like, you know, 2012 called. We want our baked product back. So this is in the shade Baroque or Baroque. So again, I would want sort of this level of effortless powder finish on my cheeks, but then in this shade, and then in this style compact. So where it doesn't feel like a baked product and it's more like a cream to powder kind of formula, that's what I would want. And also with like this level of shimmer. So formula wise, I want the M Cosmetics, but shade one wise, I would want the Fenty. Because this I feel is sometimes a little bit too pigmented for every day, but I do want this type of shade, but then with this level of intensity. And then this level of shine, but this sort of sheerness to it. Does it make sense? I hope I'm making sense. Bronzer next, perhaps. Again, a cream and a powder formula that I would want for my bronzer. I do already have 2 bronzers that I think are really good in the cream formula. There's the Kiko Milano Sculpting Touch Cream Contour Stick in shade 200. And this is almost perfect for me. So I really like the look of that. And I think I can actually swatch these, like mix them up and swatch them together. But I would want it to be more of a true bronzer shade. So more like my Rare Beauty Empower Boost. So let me see if I can apply these a little bit on the back of my hand here. So here you can see them like swatch side by side. Here's the Rare Beauty. This is the Kiko. And I feel like the Rare Beauty is always like a touch too dark. And the Kiko is a touch too yellow for me. So they're really beautiful products, both of them. But maybe if we like blended them together. Ooh, it looks very orange. But that could be nice as like a bronzer shade. And then a little bit more cool toned. Yeah, I would probably add a bit of pink. Like shade wise. You know what I mean? If it had a bit more pink to it, I think that could work. I do need to take a little bit of this off. But for the next bronzer combo, of course, I would want a powder bronzer as well. And I would want it to be the marriage between these 2 products. So this is my Kiko Milano Flawless Fusion in shade 1. And this is the Dior Forever Natural Bronze in Tan Bronze. I don't even know they make this shade anymore. But this is quite a neutral tone bronzer. But I wanted it to be like lighter. Like, so I love the tone of this. The color of this is beautiful. But I want it to be this level of depth. Let me see if I can like show them together. Do you see what I mean? Like, this is just a little bit too dark for me, but I love the undertone. And then this is light enough for me, but it's a little bit yellow. I mean, both of them do have a little bit of pink in, but let me see if I swatch them. So do you just see that the Dior is just, this is the Dior, And this is the Kiko. So the Kiko is the lightness that I need, and the Dior has the pinkiness that I need. So it would therefore be sort of the marriage between these two. And I do have to say that the Dior does swatch quite sheer, so it doesn't look as full on as on my finger when I swatch it. So I'll build it up a little bit so you can see. So do you see what I mean? Like the Kiko is just a little bit sheer, a little bit more effortless, but then I would want it to be this tone because it has that hint of pink in there. I'm not sure if I'm making sense, but that's what I would want. Then at some point, I would want to launch highlighters as well. So at some point, again, a cream highlighter and a powder highlighter. I have found that as much as I do like liquid blushes and liquid highlighters and things like that, I do find them a little bit messy. So I would therefore want a cream because I have more control over it, and it's more like it's easier to apply those with a brush than a liquid is, because liquid like goes everywhere, you could say. So for the cream version, I would want a marriage between these two. This is my stand-in for my Glossier Halo Scope in Quartz. This is very similar to that, I find, but that was out of stock, so I don't currently own that anymore, and mine expired. But this is the Catrice glass-like highlighter stick. So it would be this very dewy, ethereal looking sort of highlighter. I'll put it here so I can show the shifts a little bit. But then I would want it in a pot like the Hermes Living Luminizer. And I love this product. The Living Luminizer is beautiful, but this gets a little bit weird texture-wise. And I sometimes want just a little bit more. Like with the RMS, I feel it's more of a wet look, whereas I want more of a glassy look. So you can see the RMS is right here and the Catrice is right here. That's really wrinkly mica. Can we see that? So RMS, Catrice. You can just see that the Catrice has a little bit more oomph to it. There's a little bit more to it base-wise, and I feel like it feels a little less sticky than the RMS does. So that's why I like it. So if I blend them together, do you see how effortless that looks? Oh, I want this on my cheeks right now. That would be my cream highlighter. That would be the cream highlighter of choice. That's what I would go for. And then for the other highlighter, so I would do a powder highlighter. I would want sort of the glow and color payoff of the Fenty Beauty Demi Glow highlighter in Pretty Pearls. Here's what it looks like. But I would want the shade and the formula of the MAC X-Ray Mention in Double Gleam. So Double Gleam is beautiful. It's this really sort of champagne-y, gold, white base to it. And I like the Demi Glow by Fenty. It's a little bit more peachy though. And I do really like how soft focused that is. So formula-wise, I really like the MAC, but I would want it in this finish, in this shade, in this formula, and this sort of level of application. That's what I would want in the end. So here, ooh, I don't know if you can see this, if I can twist all the way, but here we have the MAC, and here is the Fenty Beauty in Pretty Pearls. So sort of like a combination of those two things. Again, seeing if I can, ooh, I can blend them together a little bit here. So here we have that highlighter. I think it's really pretty, and I think it would work well if you were to combine it with the one I swatched here that I MacGyvered, the cream version of that sort of makeup. Primer-wise, Milani eyeshadow primer, something like that would at some point be entered into the makeup collection. And something like the Jelly Grip or the Milk Hydro Grip primer would be my face primer of choice. We all know my favorite setting spray is the Pretty Fresh setting spray by ColourPop. Those are products where I feel like, no notes, I would just make my version of it. You know? No need to like blend things together or sort of Frankenstein and MacGyver my way through these products, you could say. Of course, we all want to know what eyeshadow would I recommend? What would I want to do eyeshadow wise? I think I wouldn't start with a palette if I were introducing any eye products. There is a palette suggestion in here as well, but I think I would first want to release a couple of small things, singles, cream shadow sticks, a couple of like singles in a pot. That's what I would probably want to do first, and then do a bigger palette so that the palette can be the companion to the single things. It's sort of like everything should group together and work together. That's sort of really the vision I would have for this makeup collection. So I think I would start by having a couple of eyeshadow sticks. And what I would have is one eyeshadow stick that's like a charcoal gray brown. This is shade 39 by Kiko. Where should I put it? I think I need to put it on the other side of my hand because else I can't show you. So something like that. Like nice and deep, great for a smoky eye. Ooh, where's the cat? I'm dropping things left, right, and center. Yeah, there we go. So something like that. And then indeed with just a touch of sheen. Just a touch of sheen. So you can wear it by itself, smoked out with other eyeshadow on top. That would definitely be something. And I would want something like this, because this you can use as an eyeshadow base. Or if you just want to neutralize your lid. So I would probably do it in like different skin tone colors. This happens to be very pink and very close to my skin tone, so I'm not sure if you can see it. But that's what I would do in the matte range. So I would do like a little range of like shimmer shadow sticks, and then matte shadow sticks in like different skin tones and like different vibes. And then for the funsies, I would do a couple of these glitter sticks. This happens to be by Unleashia. This is the Pretty Easy Glitter Stick in number 2 Flutter. And this is very messy because it's very soft and mine broke off. But this is really beautiful. So this way, if you have just 2 of these sticks and this glitter thing, you can already do a complete eye look. That would be the aim here, to just have 3 of these sticks. You pick your 3 different shades, and like you could make sets that people can buy for Christmas, and you can customize it, and you know, there's a whole vision here. So those would be the 3 shades, like a light matte shade, and like also have it in deeper tones for other skin tones. The like slightly like satiny sheen eyeshadow stick, and then a glitter stick kind of thing. And I would launch that together with, or maybe I would launch these later. I would probably do the eyeshadow sticks first, and then do something along the lines of the original formula Kiko Milano water eyeshadows. Also that concept that it can be used wet, dry, with a brush, with fingers, over a glitter glue, and that it's going to look different. So again, a whole range of these little eyeshadows in this formula that are a little bit more satin leaning. I happen to take the shade Light Taupe up here. This is 227. This is no longer being made, but that's why I would want to bring this back. So let me swatch that here. So you can see that it's pretty subtle, but still really pretty. And then along to go with it, a couple of, again, like with the sticks, a couple of fun single shimmers. I love the design of this packaging as well, by the way. This is by Josie E. This is D114. I think this was sent to me by YESSTYLE. And this has a really beautiful, almost like green sheen to it. I'm not sure if you can see. But these are pretty sparkly, and I think they layer really well over a lot of one and done sort of things that you can have. So I feel like if you were to then have a stick like this, maybe you want to use the matte to like set things into place, and then have the glitter stick to like pop in the inner eye. And if you truly want to like amp up the look and make it a little bit more glam, you can use something like that in conjunction with like something a little bit more satiny, shiny, and in beautiful shades like I'm showing you here. So those would be my picks for like the single shadows. Does that make sense? For a palette, I have my favorite palette already, at least the basis of it. I MacGyvered this palette together myself. This does not exist. This is part Naked 2, part Naked 3. I did a video where I put this together, so I'll link it in the description box down below. It would be too long to show the process in this video as well. But I have 2 of these original ones in backup, so I still have the original palettes, so I didn't mind doing this with my old palettes. This has now gotten too old to use, but this would be my base for the shades that I would want to put in a palette I create. The only thing I would do is that I would change some of the lighter shimmers in the first half of the palette, for instance this pink and maybe a couple of other things, by 3 different shimmers that I actually have as singles in my singles collection. So I'll swatch the singles. I'll link you to some swatches I have of Naked 2 and Naked 3. I don't, like, this is so old, I think actually I don't have swatches of Naked 2 anywhere. Because at the time, I didn't know the concept of a swatch on my blog yet. Like, I think it's that old. But yeah, so this would be the base. Ooh, there's a shade popping out. So what I would probably do, yeah, I would probably take out the light pink and this like silvery taupe thing. Not because I don't like it. And then probably this one that's a little bit more brown toned. I would keep this and everything from this shade all the way there. That's what I would keep, including the shimmers, the formula, the way it is. I like these more satiny leaning shimmers, I'm not gonna lie, but I would wanna make it a little bit more now by having some more interesting intense shimmers in. So here's my intense shimmer neutral singles palette that I have in my singles collection. And inside is one of my favorite old time singles. It's this one over here. It's by Looksy Beauty. I think they're no longer around even. And it's called Starboy. And Starboy is a silver and a gold in one go. So this is gold and silver at the same time. It's really beautiful, really interesting. It's got a little bit of green almost running through it. It's so pretty. So, so pretty. So that would be definitely going in there. Then I would want there to be a little bit of color. So I like in the Naked 2 and 3 combo that I made that there are quite a lot of things that have like a pinky or a dusty purple undertone. And to highlight that and to work with those, I would want to put in another multi-chrome, like a nice little shimmer. Where is it? I would want to put in this. This is Lucid Lavender, and it's by Touch of Glam. Again, is that still a brand? I don't know. But we'll give it a whirl. And this is a beautiful, like this was one of the first ever like lighter multi-chromes I ever tried. Or multi-chromes, I should say. And this is like one of those lavender, pink, blue, green, peach. Like it has 5 or 6 different shifts. So I would want to put something like that in just to have a little bit of color and to have some like fun to play with. So that would be a more intense shimmer that I would put in there as a replacement for some of the lighter shimmers that are now in the palette. And then finally, from Clionadh, I would want to put in something similar to the shade Bloodline, which is down here. It's one of my favorite shimmers by Clionadh. I grab for it almost every single time I put together a BYOP. It's like top of mind for me. It's why I know exactly which one it is. And it's again a little bit of like a greeny purple. I believe Bloodline is also from their like neutral multi-chromes that they did. I love that concept of like a neutral multi-chrome. You can see that this has a little bit more depth. And then inside it has like purple, green, gold, a touch of blue even. But I think it will go really well with the rest of the palette to just have a little bit more fun. So I think that these shimmers can really amp up the bases. Wait, let me clean my finger and grab the palette so you can see the vision together. Ooh, I didn't close it properly. So those 3 shimmers added into this. So one that's a little deeper for like all over the lid and just have fun with. And then 2 lighter things that can be like intense pops of shimmer in your inner corner, your brow bone, add sparkle, be used as a topper. And I think it can be really fun to play with those 3 things. And then, of course, it will go perfectly with the 5 single things I would already have created as well. So that's why I wouldn't want to oversaturate this with fun shimmers, because I would have already done a couple of these sparkly, like Josie like shimmers. So that, my dear friends, would be my entire conceptualized makeup line. If I had to MacGyver things together, oh, I love the look of that. I still really love the way this like foundation-y type of product came out with the shine and stuff. Yeah. So like I said, these products do not necessarily exist yet. If you're a makeup brand and you want ideas, hit me up. I would love to. But yeah, I think that this is what I would launch if I were to create my own makeup line at some point. Yeah, this would be it. If I had to create my own makeup line, then here's the highlighter again. I didn't wipe it off yet. Some of the eyeshadows I would want to create, the foundation, the concealer. We have the powder highlighter over here. Where did I swatched the actual powder on my thumb here, which you can't even see. Lipstick wise, what I would do. Blush wise, what I would do. Bronzer wise, what I would do, and also complexion wise. Like, I think we would have covered all bases if this was actually in existence. So let me know in a comment down below if you thought this concept was fun. I had fun putting it together for sure. And I hope that having the swatches here can give you a bit of a better idea of where things would stand and what it would want to create. So yeah, those would be like the starter kit, you could say. I definitely would, of course, like, that lipstick line I could expand on. Like, there would have to be something that's like a cool toned pinky nude as well. Like, Laid Back Lilac I feel is such a good like cooler toned nude, but it's not super cool toned for people with a cool undertone. So I would want to expand that more in like the cool toned range. And then of course I would want to do like deeper reds and like berries and a burgundy, and like that lipstick range I could go all out. Like I think at some point in time, maybe this is something you're interested in, let me know. But I think I could conceptualize like a whole lipstick collection of like 10 lipstick shades, and then like glosses and stains. Like I could have a field day just with lips. And I think I could even take this further and like conceptualize what I would do for like all the different eye products as well. I definitely could. But yeah, those would be my picks. Let me know in a comment down below what you thought of this video idea. It's something new I'm trying out. Because I like this idea of like talking about products that I wish existed has been on my list for such a long time, but I didn't know how to film it. So this is sometimes what happens behind the scenes, is that I will have an idea, I will jot it down. I was like, I need to film that at some point. And then I even put it on my filming list, and I don't do it because then I look at the idea and there's just nothing in my brain that goes like, and how do I do that? But finally I was like, oh, but I could conceptualize my own makeup line, and that way I could talk about products I wish existed. So I really hope you enjoyed watching this video today. Leave me your suggestions in the description box down below. What would you create if you were to create your own makeup line? I would love to know. So thanks so much for watching this video today. Thumbs up this video if you liked it, subscribe, and I hope to see you again really, really soon in a new video. Bye-bye.